Legal cases, legal issues, legal matters. You're watching WFTV's Law Talk with anchor Christopher Heath and expert legal analyst, attorney Mark NeJame.
All right, so let's talk about some of the current cases, issues, and legal matters that our viewers are talking about. Of course, joining me today is legal analyst Mark NeJame of the NeJame Law Firm.
Hey,
Albert Yanfa, a partner at NeJame Law in the personal injury division. Central Florida is the theme park capital of the world. You look at the rankings every year, we have the 1, 2, 3, 4, usually top 5 theme parks around the world for visitors are right here. But theme parks, amusement parks, they're businesses like anyone else, and they do have some legal obligations, correct?
They do, Chris. They fall under the overall area of premise liability. And just because they're theme parks and amusement parks, and we have some smaller ones, they still are captured under the area of negligence and liability. Try as they may, through the legislature many times, to go ahead and cut themselves out of certain types of liability and get special and preferential treatment, which at times they do. But when it comes to liability, no, they can still be very liable. And in fact, a lot of times people might be dissuaded from going against them because there might be a sign, enter at your own risk, ride at your own risk. And they think that, well, I guess don't have anybody to go against because it says that they're not liable. They're wrong. Usually they're wrong. That sign is not necessarily enough to give them the amusement park full protection.
And Albert, when you go to a theme park or an amusement park, you're there to get thrilled and to get scared and to kind of feel like you're on the edge of danger, maybe on some of these rides. That is the expectation. The expectation is also that you're going to walk away from it okay. If that doesn't happen, you may have some action there.
Yeah, it's particularly sad with these types of situations because people spend their life savings coming here to Orlando to enjoy time with their family, and these things happen. The injuries that we've seen in these types of cases just run the total gamut. When you think about theme parks, you think about rides, but you also don't think about how these they're basically sprawling resorts. They're hotels, restaurants, and all of that. And they have a responsibility to maintain their premises, whether it's a crack in the sidewalk or the conveyor belt that loads and unloads people. The duty that they have is the same. They invited you on here for business purposes. They have to ensure your safety. Now, the most common injuries we do see are those types of conveyor belt situations. They have the ability to slow them down or stop those when they're loading or unloading passengers. But what we often find is that employees are either tired, overworked, or they're just overwhelmed by the volume of people, and it sort of becomes like a cattle call where people just come in and out of the ride and they get complacent. And when you're talking about heavy machinery, moving parts, thrill rides, complacency leads to tragedy.
And it's like anything else. Document what happened. We talk about this all the time. If something happens, if you slip, you twist an ankle, or are severely injured, document everything, because as we know, most of your major theme parks not only have security cameras, they've got other cameras in other places. There's going to be documentation that an attorney can also get their hands on.
You hit it perfectly, Chris. And the benefit oftentimes with a theme park case versus another case, there's usually witnesses that are your family member or a friend that you're with. So if you're not in a position to take them, make sure that you tell that person, get the pictures, document that injury, because it can be everything. And remember, the theme parks are loaded with cash. They're loaded with people, that means they're loaded with cash, and they have lawyers that will fight. And they fight very, very vigorously. So the fact is as much information as you can get. And as Albert was saying, it can be something as simple as a spilled soda. But if they don't have the personnel there knowing that there's constant conveyor of like a conveyor belt of people coming through, and they're not cleaning that up, they've got liability in great likelihood. So document it, get the pictures, just don't be nice. A lot of times people are, always be polite, but don't just say, well, I don't want to bring it against them because I'm not that kind of person. Well, a week later when you can hardly move, you'll wish you were that kind of person. You documented everything, because if you document it, you always have it. If you don't document it and then you change your mind later, you're out of luck.
And to Mark's point, what a lot of these theme parks try to do is they'll give you a balloon and an ice cream cone and say, here, sign this. And people will feel like, okay, this is what I need to do. It's probably my fault. They'll sign something and they waive any rights to recover later.
Because you're on vacation with your family for the most part, and you want to go back to that vacation and not have to disrupt it. But by the same token, think long term. Think about, okay, exactly what happened, and think about, what is this going to mean to me physically going forward, am I seriously hurt? Should I have documentation? Because you're going to want to know if you decide to go that path.
Well, without question. And like any other case, there's statute of limitations. You had talked earlier about, in another matter we were discussing, latches. But there are areas that if you waive it, or you waive your right by your actions or by what you've signed, or a estoppel where you've done certain things where you might have lost the cause of action. No, everything you do has value and a meaning. It doesn't mean you should be pursuing a false claim. But if you're hurt, you're hurt. And if they're negligent and they cause your pain, it's only proper, and the law provides for you to get compensated for that.
We certainly love our theme parks, but just like anything else, they're businesses. Albert, thank you as always. Mark, thank you for your insight. And if you'd like to see more of this or any of our other law talks, visit our website at wftv.com/legal, or join us each week right here on Facebook. I'm Christopher Heath, and thanks for watching.
WFTV's Law Talk was brought courtesy of the Personal Injury and Accident Division of NeJame Law.